Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Great to be back, and now we're ready for segment number 2. I'm very excited about this. Hopefully you watched number 1 so far and you caught up in the mindset. And today we're going to talk about the power of being centered through your voice and mindset. And being centered is a very important part of this whole process, because if you're not centered with people, what'll happen is they'll manipulate you, they'll challenge you, you'll fall back to your old ways again. So being centered is what this is all about. So real quick recap on the mindset. Remember, the whole idea is to focus on the truth, diffuse the pressure, build that trust in the process. Don't focus on the end goal. See there's a fit first. Because in many cases, I'll tell you one thing. What I realized was, what I call the big wake-up call, is that people now, clients now, don't necessarily want to hire you or go with you just based on your service anymore, product. There needs to be a connection there between you and them. They have to feel comfortable in knowing that you're unique, that you care about their agenda, and that in itself differentiates you. And I'll tell you one thing, in many cases, they don't always believe your true intentions, do they? You might call them up, have a good meeting with you, but they might be thinking in the back of their mind, your goal is to focus on only getting the what? Getting a sale, right? So it's important to think about that, because your job is to diffuse that issue in the back of their mind to build that trust. So my goal today is to shift you from selling what you have to becoming what I call a trusted confidant. A trusted confidant. And that's defined as a close friend or associate to whom secrets are confided, or with whom private matters and problems are discussed. Who right now believes they have a trusted, confident relationship with their current clients? Anybody? Probably a few of you say, yeah, some of my clients and I, we're pretty close, we're pretty tight, we get along quite well. Well, what we're talking about today is not having that relationship with your clients. I'm talking about taking this trusted, confident concept and putting it forward before they become a client. How do you create that level of trust with someone, as this is defined, with opening up to you before they become a client? Not before, after they become a client. Does that make sense? So we're talking about how to build trust in a deep way during your process prior to them becoming a client with you. So I'm going to ask you to play a video for you right now of Mr. Rogers. And many of you may have heard him before. We used to do puppets with kids in the United States with Sesame Street. And he was a master at helping children communicate at his own show. This video is like 1960s. He was in Congress making a sales pitch, kind of presenting what he does to get funding for his show. And this video is about 8 minutes long. I want you to watch this. In the video, he basically sells what he does to try and get funding from Congress for his show. But I want you to observe his approach, observe his mindset, observe his tone, observe his languaging, observe the way in which he sells, because that observation will make even clearer to you what unlocking the sales game is all about, okay? Then after that, we'll take a bit of a break and have someone come up from the audience and discuss what they feel about the video, their feedback on it, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to play the video right now, and you can watch it, and again, make some notes on a piece of paper you're watching. If you're in the audience on your phone or on television, get a piece of paper out and write down every single thing that you hear or see that he is doing that you believe exemplifies the mindset, as I discussed on the first segment. And then from that, we'll have a discussion about what he does that's very unique in the way he sells, okay? So I'll let you watch this and we'll go from there.
Now, Mr. Rogers is certainly one of the best things that's ever happened to public television, and his Peabody Award is testament to that fact. We in public television are proud of Fred Rogers, and I'm proud to present Mr. Rogers to you now. Fred.
All right, Rogers, you got the floor.
Senator Pastore, this is a philosophical statement and would take about 10 minutes to read, so I'll not do that. One of the first things that a child learns in a healthy family is trust, and I trust what you have said, that you will read this. It's very important to me. I care deeply about children. My first children...
Will it make you happy if you read it?
I'd just like to talk about it, if it's all right.
sir. Okay.
My first children's program was on WQED 15 years ago, and its budget was $30. Now, with the help of the Sears Roebuck Foundation and National Educational Television, as well as all of the affiliated stations, each station pays to show our program. It's a unique kind of funding in educational television. With this help, now our program has a budget of $6,000. It may sound like quite a difference, but $6,000 pays for less than 2 minutes of cartoons, 2 minutes of animated, what I sometimes say, bombardment. I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country. And I've worked in the field of child development for 6 years now, trying to understand the inner needs of children. We deal with such things as the inner drama of childhood. We don't have to bop somebody over the head to make him to make drama on the screen. We deal with such things as getting a haircut, or the feelings about brothers and sisters, and the kind of anger that arises in simple family situations. And we speak to it constructively.
How long a program is it?
It's a half hour every day. Most channels schedule it in the noontime as well as in the evening. WETA here has scheduled it in the late afternoon.
Could we get a copy of this so that we can see it? Maybe not today, but I'd like to see the program.
I'd like very much for you
I'd
to
like
see.
to see the program itself, or any one of them, you see.
We made 100 programs for EEN, the Eastern Educational Network, and then when the money ran out, people in Boston and Pittsburgh and Chicago all came to the fore and said, we've got to have more of this neighborhood expression of care. And this is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health. I think that it's much more dramatic that two men could be working out their feelings of anger, much more dramatic than showing something of gunfire. I'm constantly concerned about what our children are seeing. And for 15 years, I have tried in this country and Canada to present what I feel is a meaningful expression of care.
Do you narrate it?
I'm the host, yes, and I do all the puppets, and I write all the music, and I write all the scripts.
Well, I'm supposed to be a pretty tough guy, and this is the first time I've had goosebumps for the last 2 days.
Well, I'm grateful not only for your goosebumps, but for your interest in our kind of communication. Could I tell you the words of one of the songs which I feel is very important?
Yes.
This has to do with that good feeling of control, which I feel that children need to know is there. And it starts out, what do you do with the mad that you feel? And that first line came straight from a child. I work with children, doing puppets in very personal communication with small groups. What do you do with the mad that you feel? When you feel so mad you could bite. When the whole wide world seems oh so wrong, and nothing you do seems very right. What do you do? Do you punch a bag? Do you pound some clay or some dough? Do you round up friends for a game of tag or see how fast you go? It's great to be able to stop when you've planned a thing that's wrong and be able to do something else instead and think this song. I can stop when I want to, can stop when I wish, can stop, 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 anytime. And what a good feeling to feel like this and know that the feeling is really mine. Know that there's something deep inside that helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
Hopefully you were able to observe what Mr. Rogers did there and see how in many ways he's leaving the mindset. And coming up from the break in a few minutes, we'll have some audience members come up on stage and share with me what they saw there, what they noticed that he did, the changes that happened in the audience in terms of the senator, and what allowed him to make that sale for $20 million without having to pitch in a traditional way. So Mr. Rogers, in many ways, in that presentation, demonstrated the ideal model of how someone should communicate what they do with someone in a selling environment. Because you'll notice he focused on certain things that we aren't used to focusing on. He focused on problems and issues, his voice tone, lots of things like that. So at the break, when we come in a few minutes, I'm going to have a few people from the audience come forward and share a bit of their feedback and what they saw there. Then after that, I will start to begin to break this down and decompress it, break it down into sub areas and discuss what he did around his voice, around being centered and his tone and assumptions, and break down what he did so you can begin to see what he does naturally into a process. That sound good? Okay, we'll see everybody in a few minutes. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be back, and thank you for everyone coming on who's watching the show today. Segment number 2, our second part. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the video from Mr. Rogers. A lot of observations. I'm sure you're probably thinking about how he approached that sale, how it was made. And we have Katie, who's on stage with us today, and as well as Fiona, who's volunteered to come up and share with me a little bit about the feedback, what you noticed in terms of his approach, how he made the sale. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe Katie, share a little bit about what you saw, I noticed about his sales approach.
Sure. I suppose for me, I actually grew up watching Mr. Rogers.
Oh, did you?
So
Okay.
Actually, that was I connected with that right away.
Uh-huh.
And I think one thing that I really picked up that was quite stark was that there was a moment there where the senators actually said, "Do you want to read that?" And he's actually declined. And I think he's done that very purposely. And he was doing that not out of disrespect, but he's doing that because he wanted to make a connection.
Right.
And he didn't just want to read from a script. He wanted to actually say something that he passionately believed in and talk about it. So he said, if you don't mind,
Right.
he used language, if you don't mind,
What was
I'd
he
just like to
doing
talk
that?
about.
If you don't mind, what was he actually doing there when he said that to them? He's asking him what? Permission, wasn't he?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And the senator didn't mind. He said, no,
Right.
I wouldn't mind hearing more about what you think about it.
He enrolled him in it, didn't he?
And I think that was really powerful.
And what did you notice about the senator? How did he change through the process?
Very formal at the beginning.
You
and
remember
then
that? He said, okay, Mr. Rogers, get going.
Yeah, and then very relaxed at the end. And, he wanted a copy. He wanted more information. He was really enrolled. He was really drawn in by what he was hearing.
Yeah. How about Fiona? What was your observation on watching that?
I think the main thing was he was just so quiet in his approach.
Interesting.
So centered and gentle.
Yes.
Just so gentle, and it was incredibly personal. And from the heart. So I guess the thing is, it's just it's just such a genuine way of talking to somebody, and I think that's why he turned them around, because he had a room full of very cynical people.
Yes.
And because he was, I think that warmth and that from the heart came through really clearly.
Well, he didn't focus on the...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.